Are you tired of your blues scale phrasing sounding stale? Try these 4 new notes to spice it up. Let me show you how. Okay, so if you're a rock player like I was growing up, you were probably exposed to lots of AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, what have you, and you were playing lots of blues scale, a lot of times in a minor key. And that's great. Love that sound. In fact, it's one of my favorite sounds ever. However, what they didn't teach us in learning all of those tunes is some of the notes that are missing that we could actually be playing, 4 of them to be precise. 2 of those notes are on one specific chord, while the other 2 chords will have one specific note that we could play on those as well. Now, technically, you could play any note that you want whenever you want, but we've found, right, that there is some sort of structure to it, and it does help when certain notes are played on certain chords. So I'm going to tell you about those. We're going to go over them really quickly. You can bend into them, you can hammer into them, you can just play them straight out. I did lots here just now. So let's talk about the theory real quick. Don't worry, you don't have to know a lot, but here it goes. So if we're talking about the A minor blues scale, it looks like this. If we wanted to extend it, it would go up here, okay? And so a lot of times when we're playing this, we will be playing this over the basic 12-bar blues chord progression, which is a 1 chord, a 4 chord, and a 5 chord, all major, okay? Based off of the 1 of the scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, based off of the 4, and based off of the 5 bass notes. That's what we call a 1, 4, 5 chord progression, right? Because in those 4 notes are an A, D, E, and in this case here we have a A7, a D7, and a E7, right? So that's what we call a 1, 4, 5 chord progression. When we're playing the minor blues over the top of it, it sounds great. It's literally what gives blues that kind of sobering sound, but these are major chords, and we're playing a minor chord progression or a minor scale over the top of it, right? The minor blues scale is a minor scale. Technically shouldn't work, but it does. It's the blues, so deal with it, right? But we're dealing with 4 major chords. I'm sorry, 3 major chords. And because of that, there are notes in those major chords that are not present inside of the minor blues scale. And we're leaving them on the table, man. We can use these, and they really add some great spice to it, especially if you want to give it that kind of uplifting feeling, if you will. And so basically what we're doing is we're delving into major blues. This is how I started learning a little bit more about the major blues, is by delving into, well, what is the chord being played and what could I do over the top of that as well. So let's analyze this. So let's think about it. Right here is the A7 chord. And this note right here is the 1 note that makes that chord major. Okay? It's a C sharp. And normally we're playing just a C, which is the part of that minor sound, but that makes it major. So a lot of times we're soloing and we're just missing that note entirely. Right? But what we could do instead, while that chord's being played, is we could go, or any sort of use of that. We could bend up. I did it up here. I also did over that chord. Normally, we don't do that so much unless we're wanting that specific major chord sound. And I don't know about you, but the way I was raised listening to all that minor blues is you don't hit that note, you go around it. But it's there, man, it's there for us. Right? So over that 1 chord, when you're playing a 12-bar blues progression, experiment with that guy a little, okay? Just on the 1 chord. Now, when we come to the 4 chord, we also have yet another new note that we can throw in here. So let's analyze this. Right here is our D7 chord. This note's in the minor blues, this is in minor blues, this is in minor blues. This note is not in the minor blues scale, okay? This note here is an F sharp, and normally we'd play that note, but that note is perfectly acceptable because it's right there in the chord. So one way that I do this is if I really want to emphasize that sound, I might just straight up play it. Or a lot of times I like to bend it. I like to go. I like to kind of play around with these two because both of these notes will work. This is in the minor blues. This is in the major blues because we're borrowing it straight from that 4 chord. Now, of course, any place this note, this F sharp, is present on the fretboard, you could use this, right? But I'm just showing it to you in one scale position. Of course, you'll have to take it and go to the other scale positions and do that. Otherwise, this would be a very long video, okay? Let's talk about the 5 chords. Scooching up here, we've got 2 notes that are new to our minor blues scale, right? And if you just look at the chord right here, in fact, I want you to do that is after this video, go through this, watch it a few times, and see where we're getting these notes from, because it's not rocket science, it's just straight out of the chord. Our 5 chord is an E7 chord, and those 2 notes are right out of our scale. Now this note, and this note are in our minor blues scale. But these 2 notes are not. So actually, those are the same notes. So even this guy here, we got a duplicate there, but we're still talking only 2 notes. That's a B, okay? A B and a G sharp, okay? If you're into notes, okay? I don't think about them too much. I think about shapes. But there you go. Those 2 notes, and we're getting that directly from the 5 chord, the 5/7 if we want to be exact, the dominant chord. It's a 7th chord, but it's based off of the 5th scale note. And so either one of these notes are doable, or both are doable. And so one of the licks that I played is when it went up to, I did this. And then I was back into minor blues right there, okay? So I could pick one note, I could pick both notes, I could hit them together, I could just choose one, I could choose none. Now what I've found is that if you do this every single time on every single chord, or just every single time you go to the 5 chord, you grab those notes, it starts becoming predictable. And so then it's not a spice anymore. So if every time you're serving up a particular meal, you have that spice in there, it's not going to be special. So you, in my opinion, when you comes to special things like this in production and what have you, you don't want to do it too much because it's a good thing and you want to keep people's ears listening to what it is that you're doing. So my suggestion, do it all the time when you're just learning how to do it in your woodshed, right? When you're practicing this stuff. But when it comes to being on stage or putting it in a solo or whatever, change it up. Don't always go to it. Stay in the minor blues sometimes, then sometimes go into the major blues by accenting at least one of these notes or 2 of them when the 5 chord comes around. Now, it's one thing to get the concept of it. It's another thing to actualize it and get it under your fingers, get it in your brain, get it in your heart, get it in your playing. And that takes repetition, okay? I've got jam tracks for you, friends. So make sure that you go to my website, YourGuitarSage.com. You can check out those jam tracks. I have lots of them here on YouTube as well. Friends, I'm here for you. I'm passionate about your playing. I want you to be the best player that you can be, and that's why I do these videos for you. So leave your comments below. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know what you think about this. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Free course for you, first link below, UGS standard, 100,000, over 100,000 people have gone to it. To be exact, about 750,000 people, it's actually changed their guitar lives. We welcome you to join. See you in the next video, my friends. if you're like a rock,